This is Shane Hewitt from Mutoh. I'm going to show you how to set up jobs in order to print them and cut them. We'll go and open up the FlexiSign Print Editor program in step 1. Once the program opens, we will go to File and either Open, or we can go to Import and do the same thing. I'm going to go to Open, and I'm going to grab, as my example, a file off the computer here. So if you just go to Import and grab a file, that's all you would need to do. Click Open after you get to the file. Once you have the file open on the screen, take your mouse button up to the left hand side, hold down the mouse button because you're wanting to put a cut line around the whole thing, so hold down the mouse button and then just drag it over to the far right hand side while you're still holding it down, and then come all the way down to the bottom, let go. Once you get to the bottom and you've covered up the whole image with this imaginary box, then go up to Effects, Contour Cut. Now you have a line around the image, but before you touch anything, the next thing you want to do is you want to change. I recommend that you change color, and the color that I personally use is salmon pink. It doesn't matter what color you use, just keep up with that. That's going to be your contour cut line. So I click on salmon pink, and then just up above that, I want to make sure that how far away do I want to be from the actual image. So I'm at 0.1 inches right now, and I've got it set to contour, so it's going to cut around this image. And if you see here, you see a little reddish line. I'm not going to click on it. I'm just holding my mouse over the top of it, not clicking anything. If I click, then I lose that contour cut line that I've got set. I've got to set it in by choosing the green check mark here, which applies it. So I apply it. Now I've got the image that I want to cut out. Go up to the top and I choose Rip and Print. Screen pops up and it says, is this select production on this computer? Just click OK. Once you click OK, just sit back and wait. As long as you know you clicked OK, sit back and wait. And this screen here is going to pop up, which is the rip and print screen. You continue to wait for a moment, and the actual rip program will probably come up in front of this in just a moment. The rip program comes up. That's the production manager. Flexi, it can be the Mutoh edition, or it could be a full production manager. Just minimize that screen down there, and what I want is this screen here. From here, I'm going to choose the printer that I want to send this job to, and in my case I have quite a few Mutoh printers, but it could be the 1324, 1624, 1638, 2638, 628, whatever it may be that you're going to actually send this job to print. Choose that in your list. Next thing is right down below that, you want to, depending on what size cutter you have, if you've got the 52-inch wide cutter, I would choose user defined here, and then I would choose in this first box, I would select 51 inches wide. That gives you a little bit of extra space on the right and left hand side. The cutter will cut 52 inches, but let's just start off with 51 inches for now. The distance, the next option, that you don't need to necessarily worry with. Now this is how wide your media is. I know your media may be wider than 51 inches, but you're only wanting to tell that you're going to print to a 51 inch. Okay, then come down. You choose Hold in List, so that when you send this job over from the rip and print program here to the actual rip program, that it will hold it in a list. It won't start sending it to the printer to cut. It won't be sending it to the printer to print immediately. The next one is how big do you want the image to be. The next part down here is how many copies do you want. So if you want more than one copy, then you would just bump up that number there. And then to the right of that is how much space in between each one do you have. The next part that I want to key on is right down here where it says centering. I want you to click on that centering option, and you want to choose the second thing down, which is the arrows are coming from the right and the left. Choose that, and that will actually center the print job on the 51-inch media that we put at the top. If your media is wider, 54 inches or something like that, it's still going to center the job. It's going to give you some space on the right-hand side and the left-hand side with some white media, and that's a key thing that we need. We need 3 inches of white media on the front before the print job starts printing, and we need 3 inches of white media on the back after the last crop mark. So when you cut the job off, you want to make sure you put 3 inches on the back before you cut it. Cut it with the printer, that is, when you're cutting off the thing. Next thing you want to choose your profile. So you choose the third tab. And when it pops up, you want to make sure you choose the appropriate profile for the material you're printing onto. There's a whole list of them there. The next thing after you've chosen the right profile, you want to choose the cutting tab here. What is called contour little cutter blade. Choose that cutter blade. Start from the top there. You want to make sure you've got the value cut that's appropriate to you. If it's the VC 600, VC 1300. 1300 is the 52-inch cutter, and then there's the VC 1800, which is 72-inch. Next one, you want to choose your material. You want to make sure that you've got it there. Just leave that alone, basically. Whatever, if you got the cutter chose up above, then leave this alone here. Make sure the send options up here at the top is send to separate jobs. And then for the registration mark, you want to have the last one chosen, which is the Mutoh segmented cutting. Come down the screen, double click on your drawing colors. Mine is set to 7 pink. Double click on that, and the first thing up here at the top should be, you want to have it set on cut fast. This is, of course, if you're just cutting through the vinyl and not trying to cut through the backing. So set to cut fast in this drop down here. Cut fast, and then the tool offset is 0.250 if you're using Mutoh normal cutting blade. The speed 21, the 1.4 acceleration, and the force of 80. That's true as long as a little bit of blade sticking out. Force of 80 should cut through almost all vinyls. That's just the vinyl and not the backing. After you chose that, go to the next tab, which is after job. Make sure that's set to none. If it's not set to none, then set it to none. Click OK. Then you want to click the send button here. One time, you click send. After you click send, then go down to the bottom of the screen to the gears. Click on the gears. And I'm going to go up here and maximize this screen, which is in the middle of these. Maximize. Then I'm going to go myself to the 1324 printer, and this job is sitting right here. I want to, and I get a little preview of it over here. I would go and I would say send the job. It's going to print out. After it's print out, I want you to refer to the next video after this for how you're going to set your cutter up and how you're going to put this in the cutter. It will be in video number 2.